Okay, so in this one, what I'm going to do, I'm going to solve it in two ways. First, I'm going to do it mentally and walk you through what that looks like. Again, this is something I do a lot in practice, mostly because there's pen and paper maybe, but I'm seated or laying down somewhere and the pen and paper's over there and I can't reach it. And I don't want to roll over and write or something. I don't know, whatever. There's reasons why I don't want to do it. And so I try to solve problems mentally if I can. And I've actually come to appreciate it because it actually shows you, it forces you to find a nice solution path. And you have to kind of hold some ideas in your mind because you're not writing them on paper, and then use that to kind of generate the thought process and then periodically go back to re-grab those concepts so you're holding on to them. And then use it, just keep proceeding until you get to the answer. Let me show you what that looks like. Afterward, I'll go ahead and do it on the board, but let's read first. Azar and Carl play a game of tic-tac-toe. Azar places an X in one of the boxes in a 3x3 array of boxes. If you've never played tic-tac-toe, sad day. I had a lot of brothers and sisters, so we played a lot as a kid. What you might not know is the game is actually solved. And what that means is if both players are playing rationally, or two AI computers both trying to win with equal, set of skill, nobody can win. It's a cat's game, they call it every time. And there's other games that are solved too. Another game that's solved, you might not know, it's called Connect 4. Connect 4 is like a thing with like a checkers, and you drop them in. There's like 7 columns. And the secret to that is whoever goes first wins. Or there's a cat's game, one of the two. And so if you go first, you go in the middle column and you can't lose. As long as you know what you're doing, you can't lose. So anyway, the box is in a 3x3 array of boxes. Then Carl places an O. So Carl's O's, Azar's X's, in one of the remaining boxes, and so on until all 9 boxes are filled, which would be a cat's game if nobody's won yet, or one of the players has 3 of their symbols in a row, horizontal, vertical, or diagonal, whichever comes first, meaning that you don't place all of the symbols if somebody wins, okay? In which case that player wins the game, the one who got 3 in a row. Suppose the players make their moves at random rather than trying to follow a rational strategy, because again, a rational strategy would be cat's game every time. And that Carl wins the game, that's important, when he places his third O. How many ways can the board look after the game is over? Okay, so now I'm going to walk you through the mental process of how to do this. The key thing is, what do we know has to be true when the game ends? He's placing his third. The game ends when he places his third O. Okay? So he's making 3 moves for Carl. But who goes first? Azar goes first. That's important. That means at the end of the game, there will be 3 symbols for Carl and 3 symbols for Azar. So think about it. If Carl wins on that third one, he must have just hit 3 in a row. So let's picture what Carl's O's look like on the diagram. Okay, you got a 3x3 grid. There's a horizontal row of 3. How many rows do you have? 3. Let's just say Carl's in the top row all the way across. He's got all 3. Where can Azar's 3 X's go? Well, there's 6 spaces left, and we've done combinations. If you're doing 22 and you don't know combinations, I don't know how you got this far. If you're not doing this question and you're just doing early ones and you're learning, that's fine. You're learning that. But people attempting this question during the exam typically have mastered the basics of combinations. It's going to be 6 choose 3, right? But is that enough? Let's talk about that in a second. There's 6 places, right, left to place the 3 X's for Azar. We're choosing to put 3 of them in. The order doesn't matter, just where they go. Okay? Now, first, what is 6 choose 3? 6 choose 3 is 6 factorial over 3 factorial, 3 factorial. And 6 is 3 factorial. So that means the 6 in front for the 6 factorial could become 6 times 5 factorial. The 6 would cancel the 3 factorial. Okay? So now you have 5 factorial over 3 factorial, and that's 5 times 4, and that's 20. Now, would any of those 20 ways be unacceptable? Because don't forget, Azar has placed 3 X's. If he got 3 X's in a row, he would have won, and Carl would never have placed his third O. The game would already be over. Therefore, Azar cannot have any of the ways that you get 3 in a row. So if Carl's got the top row, Azar cannot have the second row with X's or the third row with X's. So from those 20 ways, we subtract 2, we get 18. Now the thing about tic-tac-toe charts is, again, Carl did not have to have the top row. He could have the second row, the third row, and vertical columns. He could have all the first column, Azar 6, choose 3 minus 2. Middle column, Azar 6, choose 3 minus 2. Third column, so there's 6 cases of this. We just have to multiply 6 times 18 in our head. 6 times 10 is 60. 6 times 8 is 48. Add to get 108. We're good so far. Now, what about the case where he wins diagonally? Picture the diagonal, right? If Carl occupies the full diagonal with his 3, because he's won, he definitely wins, where could Azar's chips be that he could win? Nowhere. If somebody occupies the diagonal, the other person cannot possibly have 3 in a row of any kind. So all of those would work. All of them. I don't have to subtract 2. So we're doing 6, choose 3 again because there's still 6 spaces. Any 3 choices for Azar, no restrictions on that. You're going to get 20, and 20 is 40. You're going to take the 108 that you had in your mind from 6 times 18. You're going to add 40. The answer is 148. Done mentally. Now, if you had trouble following that, I'm going to explain it now, showing what we're doing here. Okay? So, first, you have tic-tac-toe. Again, you should practice solving mentally. Even start with old AMC 8 problems. Do as many as you can in your head. Even the ones that seem like they're probably too hard. Try. You'd be surprised how much faster you can get at problem solving because of ways that you thought of doing things mentally. So the tic-tac-toe, it doesn't actually have the outside bar. Typically in a tic-tac-toe, it's just like a hashtag symbol. It looks like this. Okay? So now, if Carl is going here, he's got O's. There's 6 other spaces that Azar's X's could go in. And we just do 6, choose 3. Okay, 6, choose 3 is 6 factorial over the difference. The difference is 3 factorial. The bottom number is 3 factorial. Again, you can write 6 times 5 factorial and 3 factorial and 3 factorial. And you should know that this is the same thing. And then 5 factorial over 3 factorial is 5 times 4 times 3 factorial over 3 factorial. If you're writing out all the numbers 3 times 2 times 1, stop that. Okay, learn this technique to be faster. Okay, so you get 20. Then back to the case. Are there any cases that are not allowed? Yes. If I put all 3 X's in a row, that's not allowed because that would have ended the game when Azar placed his third X because Azar goes first. So I have to subtract that case and that case from the 20 cases of Azar's placements. So I have 20 minus 2 is 18. Further, if he won like this, if Carl won in the middle row, it's still 6, choose 3. There's still 2 rows. I still do 6, choose 3 minus 2. Bottom row, same thing. What if you went vertical columns? O, O, O. There's 2 columns that Azar cannot occupy with his 3 X's. So 6, choose 3 minus 2. How many of those cases do we have? 3 rows, 3 columns. That's 6 cases of 18, 60 and 48, 108. We got 108 now. Again, that's 6 times 18. Finally, if Carl had these 3 spaces, there is nowhere that Azar could place the X's and win before Carl did. If this is what it looks like at the end, then Azar could place his anywhere he wants. He will not have won at that point, guaranteed, because he cannot without one of those 3 squares. Okay? So that means that would be that diagonal and also this diagonal case. They're both 6, choose 3, and that would be 20 plus 20 is 40. Add 40, get 148. So that's that. I hope you enjoyed this one. This might be my last one for tonight. We'll get back to filming more later. The B test is coming up. I hope you guys are studying well.